So Monster Hunter's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a good game and all, but why? Why do I like this game so much? I mean, Halo 3, Final Fantasy 7 are right there, and I like this game. Like them. FF7 has a brilliant fucking story. Halo 3 has the best multiplayer I've ever seen. Why does the fucking cat pun game deserve that raise? Why does it deserve it? Why does it deserve the same praise as these other masterpieces? Let's just find out. Monster Hunter is a popular action role-playing video game franchise developed and published by Capcom. The series first debuted in 2004 with the release of an original Monster Hunter game for the PS2. Since then, it has become Capcom's most successful and recognized franchises. Fuck you, ChatGPT. Monster Hunter is basically a weird franchise to talk about because at first they didn't really think it was gonna be that big of a hit. Because around the time they released Capcom vs SNK 2 and the first of the Devil May Cry games, they didn't really think Monster Hunter was gonna be that big of a hit. But we're sitting nicely in the middle of 2023. Sunbreak just ended with its last additional monster. Rise numbers are through the roofs. Monster Hunter World is their biggest game fucking ever. Like, for a game they didn't have any confidence of doing well in and being like one of their top franchises, it's kind of unbelievable, honestly. As the title perfectly explains, what the fuck the game is, you hunt monsters. You are a hunter and you just beat the living shit out of fucking dragons and shit. I don't think it's that hard to explain what this game is because, like Fortnite and Minecraft, the main part of the game is in the title. What do you do in Minecraft? You mine and you craft. You mine some resources and you craft beautiful bases and shit. Fortnite, initially, when fucking was only just save the world, you build forts in the nighttime. You build your forts, right? You build your bases and shit. And then when it's fucking nighttime, the zombie fucking raids start happening and shit, and you have to kill them. Not that hard of a game to basically understand. It's basic as that. I feel like good games have that kind of like mentality of fucking the main gimmick is in the title. I feel like there should be more games like that. A good example of the game's title implementing what the game does. Just recently, Nintendo just announced a remake to Super Mario Bros. RPG. Fun fact, I actually have an original copy thanks to my fucking grandma. And then when she played it, and then my dad played it after that on the second save file, and then I played on the third save file when I was like fucking 12. Right? The title's right there. It's an RPG about Mario. It's not that hard to figure out. Let's just say you're fighting a big fucking bear. You're fighting a big ass fucking bear. It's fucking Cocaine Bear. Man, you're fucking up Cocaine Bear, right? For the first part of the fight, you have to be like a bit on the defensive side, right? You're trying to figure out what the fuck the moveset is. You're trying to figure out how to kill it. And there's moments in the fight where you have the upper hand. You just do some fucking Shoryuken type shit. It's like kabam, like that, right? You just start to fuck it up a little bit. You knock it down. He's limping on the floor. He's too addicted to cocaine because you're fighting Cocaine Bear. And then after a while, he'll be running away, maybe going off somewhere else to like feed on another creature to get a bit of its stamina and fucking health back and shit. And then after a while, you kill him. That's basically the main gameplay loop. There'll be parts where you'll be on the defensive side. There'll be little bits where you take the upper hand and shit. But it's basically the main gameplay loop with most of the monsters having a unique moveset and shit. So you're not fucking bored. And a good way not to be bored is maybe you switch to a different weapon because there's 14 different fucking weapons throughout the most recent games. World Iceborne, Rise Sunbreak, 14 weapons. Not that hard to figure out. Actually, what are the weapons? Great Sword, your Cloud Strife, without the Genova Serum. Long Sword, your Sephiroth, with the Genova Serum. Sword and Shield, you're playing Elden Ring. Switch Axe, you're playing as Cloud Strife from Advent Children, with that weird fucking Buster Sword. But instead of just a sword becoming multiple swords, it's a sword that switches to an axe. Charge Blade, you take the elements of the fucking Cloud Strife Advent Children shit with the Elden Ring shit. Dual Blades, you're Ahsoka from Star Wars. Lance, for horse jousting, without the fucking horse. Gun Lance, it's like the Lance, but you can explode. Hunting Horn, you're playing Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Hammer, you're playing Whack-A-Mole with every fucking monster you face. Bow, you're playing any game that came out in the early 2010s. Pick one. I don't care which. Pick one. You're playing Bow. Heavy Bowgun, you're playing as Heavy from TF2. Light Bowgun, you're playing as Scout from TF2. Insect Glaive, you have a fucking spear with some drone that tries to be a fucking bug. Yeah, I know I just simply summed up what the weapons do, but I could really make an essay video about each weapon, and it'll be like 2 hours long. Like, these weapons are so fucking complex, it's unreal. Most players just do 1 or 2 combos, and that's completely fine, but there's a bunch of combos people could do with these weapons, especially on Rise. Like, they have a whole new mechanic and all that with the wire bug switching and shit. Like, dude, these weapons are fucking insane. The basic line of Monster Hunter is you get your equipment, you get your weapon, you get the weapon you like. For this train of thought, we're gonna use a sword and shield, right? You picked up your fucking iron sword and shield, you're ready to kill some lizards, some whatever, Velociprey, Jagresses, whatever, right? Then you fight the bigger version of that, and you just slowly fight monsters that are stronger and stronger and stronger. You kill them, you use their body parts, use their fucking part of the skin for this really nice hat and shit. You basically just drip yourself out of the fucking beast you've just absolutely slaughtered. And that's basically the main gist of Monster Hunter. The reason why Monster Hunter is so fucking fun is because it's basically a boss simulator. What's the best part in any game you've ever played? Most likely the bosses. Minecraft, probably had your first time killing the Ender Dragon or some shit. It was probably the most funnest time in your fucking life. It's so fucking fun. Monster Hunter is just that, but the entire fucking game. It's so fucking awesome, right? You're getting your fucking ass beat and shit, left and fucking right, and you're having a fucking blast. Because each fight is fun. Each fight's fun. Well, okay, there's some fights that aren't fucking fun as all, but like you get the idea, right? Even with some monsters that are just abysmal, it feels so satisfying when you finally beat the shit out of it, and it's just dead. It's fucking done. Like, most people that first played World and then got Iceborne, their probably first time killing Fatalis is probably the best part of Monster Hunter for them, because Fatalis is so fucking hard. And like I said earlier, with all the different weapons and type shit, you're never really gonna get bored. Because what if you're fighting, let's think of a random monster, Raging Brachydios, right? You're fighting a Raging Brachydios, the Iceborne one specifically, right? You killed it with a insect glaive, right? And they're like, yeah, this shit is whatever, right? I'm bored. Now you fight it with a hammer, or a long sword or something, right? Maybe taking a multiplayer bit, maybe you fight it without your palico, with your palico, or some shit. Like, there's so many different ways to play. Plus with some different items, like you have Flash Bomb. It's basically the flashbang from Call of Duty Mobile. Pitfall Trap. It's the pitfall from Animal Crossing. Shark Trap. You paralyze them. I can't think of a metaphor right now, but you just paralyze them. And actually, there's an item, literally just shit. Just throw shit in the monster and it'll probably go away from the fucking smell. It's fucking awesome. And also the fucking music, right? You're chilling in the town, right? You're chilling in the town, and there's some fucking absolute vibe hitting you right now, right? You're crafting your weapons, you're just looking around the main hub, look around the base, and there's music that's just jamming out. You're just jamming out, right? And then you have the fucking music that plays. That's really high upbeat. It's really fucking scary because you have fucking Rajang right there about to beat the shit out of you. And then when Devil Joe appears, its theme starts playing because both monsters have different themes. They kind of collide with each other. They just beat the shit out of each other. Rajang tries to like split the throat open in his jawline. It's like, what the fuck? And you're just jamming out to the fucking music while you're at it, right? It's like, it's so fun. It's so fucking fun. And with the music, some monsters' themes reflect how the monster is. Let's think of some examples. Zor Magdaros. I can't say this shit seriously. Zor Magdaros is the big problem in like the first half of the story of Monster Hunter World, right? You basically have two quests. There's two quests for Zor Magdaros, and the theme is really slow. It's not bad because it's slow. I thought it was for the longest time, but more reflection later. It's slow, it's impactful, it's kind of basically a build-up song. It's a song about build-up, right? Because it's this big fucking Godzilla mixed with a volcano with fucking Gandalf's beard and type shit, right? That's basically what the monster is, right? All the thing it wants to do is get energy, right? And you're trying to prevent it to get energy. So all of it's just build up. You launch cannonballs at you, fire ballista and shit. It's good. It's good. I don't think it's bad. I thought it was bad for the longest time. It's not the best one, no doubt, but doesn't mean the theme's fucking bad, right? The fight itself is fucking dog shit, but fucking at least the theme did it justice. Basil Geese. I can ask 3 people right now that have fought a Basil Geese, and they could probably describe the intro to Basil Geese theme perfectly. You know what? I'm gonna do that right now. Right now. How would you describe the Basil Geese theme?
Fucking banging. Oh my god, I love that theme. Although it reminds me of death and destruction, but it's great.
Well, I was really just in the neighborhood to get a cupcake, and then I got herpes.
Anxiety.
Told you so. The parts of Monster Hunter that makes it dog shit, well, there's only a few reasons as of now. Because of the past few years, throughout the series, I've had some critiques and some criticism over the series. After a few years passed, though, I've realized that some of those opinions are out of date because of the new games improving on those said problems. One of them they still haven't figured out, though, is the fucking online connection. Like, Jesus Christ, like, what the fuck is this type of shit? I get a fucking connection error every other match. The handler, as well. Why the fuck does the handler exist? What is her, like, purpose? Like, what the fuck is the purpose of the handler? Like, I generally don't get it. Like, I don't get how fucking the fucking board meeting at fucking Capcom is like, oh, let's just add this pile of shit that does absolutely fucking nothing for you and just give her all the credit because that seems like a good idea because we want to give this game a main character. It's like, no! You are the main character! Like, it's not that hard to figure out. Like, whoa. Whoa. Go now, Capcom. It's not that big of a deal. Like I said earlier in the stuff I love about it, there are some monsters that just fucking suck. Volvodon. I fucking despise. It just shits on you. Geratodus. Why do you exist? Why the fuck do you exist? At least for like a mud-based monster, they had Baroth, which is actually fun. I actually have fun fighting Baroth. But Geratodus is just worse Baroth! With janky hitboxes! What the fuck? Actually, all pristine wyverns in that map fucking suck, except Geratodus! That's the only good fucking pristine wyvern I've ever seen. All of them suck. Even the ones from fucking Frontier, the god ones that just swim under the rocks, yeah, they suck. They're telling me on the top of the tower there's just 2 Laviosa clones that are similar to Gold Rathian and Silver Rathalos. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? The other thing I just don't generally like about the series, they feel like they cut content from the next game. Not even like gimmicks, because I understand it's gimmicks, right? But like actual like good ideas, you know? Like at Frontier, we had the other weapons and shit. Why don't bring those back, you know? They feel like they cut content from games from time to time again. Like, again, do not expect the wire bugs to come back for Monster Hunter 6 or whatever. Do not expect them to come back. That's Rice's main gimmick. I'm not sure about Polymutes. I hope Polymutes come back, but it's like, you know, why the fuck would you bring them in the first place if it's not for that, you know? Like how Monster Hunter 4 brought like mounting and that kind of carried away through half of the 5th gen games. I feel like they cut content from time to time again, just for different purposes and shit. So, other than that, that's basically all the shit I have to talk about, the stuff I just don't like about it. Other than that, just, they improved themselves. Significance, purpose, and coherence of Monster Hunter. What the fuck is that? What the hell is that? What are those words? Well, for those dum-dums that don't know what those words are, coherence is consistency, significance is importance, and purpose is what it is. Why is it that? That's basically what purpose is. So, what the fuck do I mean by significance, purpose, and coherence of Monster Hunter? What the fuck do I mean by that? Those are big boy terms. It's a fucking video game. You're probably thinking to yourself, why? Why am I talking about this? This sounds some classic nerd shit. The significance of Monster Hunter is with each game, the main core is still there. The main core, the main idea is still there. You hunt creatures. You hunt monsters. You hunt dragons. You hunt creatures. You hunt monsters. You hunt dragons. That's the main core of it. It's consistent in that department, right? The lore of some of these monsters, how they affect throughout the different games, like Gormagala. It was a big fucking threat. It's like the first realistic threat to the hunter, like a fucking anime villain. It was basically the first monster to really do that. And throughout Generations Ultimate and Sunbreak, Gormagala is not the main enemy, but the same story elements still kind of apply to Gormagala of how his fight works. And that department, that is the exact same way how Gormagala fights in 4. And for you, the same way. And the purpose of the series is basically the same thing with significance, like I said, but you overcoming something. But it's also with the monsters, ideas, and some of the characters, side characters, and all that. The main purpose isn't the stories, but it's those things, those subtle things that make it so impactful. A really good example of those subtle stories that explain so much to a person is Chaotic Gormagala. Going back to the Gormagala talk again, but hear me out, right? Gormagala is a unknown monster. No one knows what the fuck a Gormagala is. It's not listed as anything. It's listed as a fucking unknown with question marks next to it. Not confused with that unknown, which is a monster, but it's just question marks. That's what Gormagala is. We don't know what the fuck it is as base form. However, it does evolve and mature to an elder dragon, Shigaru Magala. However, there's some chances where the Gormagala doesn't fully evolve, it doesn't fully mature enough to a Shigaru. It becomes this amalgamation of a fucking monster, and that is Chaotic Gormagala. It is a failure. It failed to evolve. Chaotic Gormagala is basically that fucking emo kid in the class that fucking cuts himself. It's like, oh, I'm so emo, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. That's what Chaotic Gormagala is. He is slowly fucking dying, and is so confused of why it failed. It's crying out for help, and then during the entire fight, it is so confused with what it's doing. It has no idea what it's doing, like a fucking longsword main. Anyway, the entire fight, it's random. It doesn't know what the fuck it does. It could do one combo, and then it switches to like something what that Shigaru does, and then does something what Gore does, and it's just a weird, really weird fucking fight. Right? Good job if you kill it, right? It's not the hardest thing in the world or anything, right? But it's like, the fact that they could tell such a story with that, and they kind of confirmed that too with Chaotic Gormagala's cutscene in Sunbreak. They kind of described that a little bit of how it failed, and I think that's really, really impactful. Like, my god, they tell such, like, subtle things through that, and it does that consistently. And mostly through the Monster Hunter lore with some of the creatures of why they got powerful and shit, but it's basically what it is for the most part. And that's the purpose, to tell those subtle little stories throughout different perspectives of you as a hunter and the monsters as their own person. Right? The reason why you kill them because of your fucking job and you get a fat paycheck for it. Right? You're not like a trophy hunter that does it for sport, like a fucking hitman. You're not that. You are part of the environment. You're just doing what you need to do. And that also leads to the coherence of it, because it's basically a trend. It's consistent of telling those subtle stories. It's also consistent of you overcoming obstacles and defeating the baddest of the bad and all that jazz. I just had to throw it in somewhere, so I'm just gonna throw it at the end here. Now with all that out of the way, why should you play Monster Hunter if you haven't already? Well, it's simple. It's your choice. I'm not forcing you to play this fucking game. I would like you to play this game. It's a really good fucking game. I mean, it's a fucking fantastic series. I love these games with my heart. And that's because it showed me how games really feel with the subtle things. As someone that wants to be a game developer and not a fucking content creator, that's my main goal, really. I want to make games like Monster Hunter where it tells subtle stories throughout their characters and their fucking creature designs and environments and all that fun pizzazz. I want to tell stories like that. And it really opened up my eyes, especially with Iceborne. It really opened my eyes how games really work. Because around the time when I was like fucking 13, 14, I picked up those games when I was just addicted to fucking Fortnite and Minecraft. Those were the games I used to play. But now, because of that, it opened my eyes to other games. It made me like variety instead of just a specific franchise. It really opened my eyes through diversity through games. It really did. It really did. Small indie games, big franchises and shit. It really opened my eyes to that, right? With this awesome gameplay loop of good combat. You kill a creature, you make parts from the creature, and you do it again. It made me like grinding, because Monster Hunter is the only game I love grinding for. It makes me have a purpose, right? Like, every game has their purpose of, you gotta go through point A to point B, you have to kill this thing. Monster Hunter purpose is just you self-improving. It's just you improving. And you grinding, and you trying to figure out how a monster works, maybe you try a different weapon, and all of that, is just you self-improving. It's a game about self-improvement, and I think that's really good, right? And honestly, that made me self-improve how I view games in general. And that's why I feel like you should play Monster Hunter, because it makes you open your eyes more about gaming. But that's just my take, though. You don't have to listen to my takes. And that's completely fine, that's completely valid. But, would it be nice for you guys to hear what other people have to say? Okay. So, just introduce yourself first. First off, before we get started, introduce yourself.
I am Hybro1 and I make some YouTube videos. I mainly play Overwatch and I've done some Pixelmon and Minecraft before.
Alright, so hey, what's up? I'm PanXK. I'm a gamer and I play in tournaments and other things, and I like to do competitive esports when I can. And my sort of passions or hobbies would be just sort of racing and sports and other stuff like that, and boxing.
My name is Trituni. I love pussy, bitches, money, ice.
My name's Astral, and I'm often on PC just playing games like Monster Hunter, Pokemon-related fan games, and many other different titles.
Me, Snick. I'm Swatch. I'm a longsword player, which means I don't have a brain.
I'm Dante DMC. I'm 15 and I'm on crack. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm Mark Anonymous, friend of Panda Pat.
Name's Maddox on Discord. Xbox name is AlphaSun365. Not really anything much of interest. Just your average gamer.
My name is Reese.
Little chart.
Okay. Little chart, yeah.
Alright, great. So, I have 5 questions for each of you, right? I want you to answer these questions as in depth and detailed as you can. It's gonna be 5 simple questions about the Monster Hunter series, right? The only thing I really want you to do besides that is just be honest and no baby answers like yes, oh no, and shit like that. I want none of that. I want none of that. I want you to be as real as possible. Starting with question 1. Monster Hunter. What is it? If we were to tell someone what it is, how would you tell them?
I would start with asking them if they knew anything about Dark Souls, because there are similarities in combat style, it being much slower and rather than being a faster combat style. But I would explain it as the name speaks for itself. It's Monster Hunter, a game where you hunt monsters, and that is pretty much all you do, because it is called Monster Hunter after all.
A big ass fucking monster game. Hunt monsters, get your fucking cock eaten off. Oh shit, where's my dick at? That's what I say every time I play that fucking game, because it just disappears. Why is my dick getting fucking gobbled up by big black fucking monsters? Start off with the fucking great jaguars. How the fuck are you gonna go from like the easiest shit in the world to let me sniff your dick?
I think the title says a lot. It says you're just hunting monsters, but it's also just a lot of progression and grinding to get materials. Also, you can look fabulous as hell.
Awesome.
And have
get that
big,
fashion.
overpowered swords.
Very complex video gaming system that one does not simply walk into. Not very many people can handle the grind of the game. And actually a lot of players have left because of it. So I would simply explain it as something you need to try. If you don't like, well, it's not for everybody. It's all I can really explain it as, because there's too many games to thoroughly explain it, because each and every game is different. Each of them has a technical different system, because each of them has different monsters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I describe Monster Hunter as an RPG that's pretty much a mix of Tekken and anime, in the sense that it's giant swords and even bigger monsters, but it has like the meatiness of Tekken.
Interesting. I wouldn't think Tekken, but yeah, okay.
It's a game that is so unbelievably goofy yet makes zero sense at the same time, yet somehow makes all sense at the same time. Basically, you play with a bunch of weapons, each with their own attributes. One, you can play as Guts from Berserk if you really want to, also just known as a giant-ass greatsword. 2, if you really feel like such a way, you can be a weeb and use a katana. Or if you're just somebody who's a little bit more simpler, who just doesn't really care, and just likes being fast, I guess you could choose daggers, or if you're really being simple, just choose whatever weapon you want. It all just depends on what your complexity is, or what you feel like using.
Question 2. What makes Monster Hunter fulfilling for you? What makes Monster Hunter, like, so fun, so great? What are some, like, the greatest aspects of it that you enjoy?
Honestly, I really like the upgrading aspect and like upgrading weapons and tools and such, getting fulfillment from that. But I also enjoy the epic nature of everything, how big the monsters feel and how they move and how they battle.
They feel like you're like towering over you, kinda, you know?
Yeah.
I like the co-op aspect where you can play with your friends. Probably going after Teostra that most recent time.
Most recent Teostra hunt?
Yeah.
Where I was just bitching costumes, like, oh my god, the supernova, no, like that kind of thing?
Yeah. All of the yelling and screaming.
Yelling and screaming's fun. That equals funny.
In that context, yeah.
I would say what makes it fulfilling for me is it allows me to play as the funny man from Berserk, aka Guts. Because there's nothing quite as fun as just hitting a bunch of lizards and seeing them just recoil back through the force of the bonk you hit them with.
I would say it's ecosystem. It's intriguing ecosystem.
The environment
like
of it?
The environment. It's kind of intriguing at some point. The monsters act just naturally and unpredictable. And once you figure out how the fuck they work, it's like learning an animal's existence.
Like, you're studying the animal, you're studying how it works, you're studying the moveset of it, you're trying to get in that in-depth analysis. You fight it a few times, maybe you get carded a few times, like, alright, now I know how to block that move, I know how to avoid this move, I know he's gonna do this thing, he's gonna attach to the tree and do, like, some weird shit, he's gonna take that rock and throw it at you, it's gonna fly up and become a B-15 bomber plane, like, you get the idea.
I'm getting fucking butt fucked. Every time I fucking play that game, I get my fucking rear demolished. And honestly, I think that's fun. Like, I think like getting your fucking cheese clapped every day and like having to repeat the same fucking dumb fuck monster.
Pause?
Fucking, huh?
Pause?
Yeah, like I think getting your fucking anus clapped is pretty nice because at least it's a fun anus clapping, not just a normal anus clapping, you know.
What makes it fulfilling for me is the selection and the diversity of options and weapons and armor and different sort of species of animals that you have. So you won't get bored always grinding out the same sort of like animal or weapon again, because when you're done with one, you could just go on to like over and over and over again. Like, there's so many different things that you could, you know, like weapons you could use, like animals you could hunt, whatever you like want. There's always something for everyone in that game.
Charge blade. It hitting that swirl, just swirling your arms and then fucking crashing down and thunder appearing in front of you. Breaking everything in your path. I also thought Valstrax is very fulfilling, you know. I had this one time where I was sheer luck. I hit it out of the sky because I was playing bow. I didn't want to play bow. Needed to do a range thing because I didn't know what I was doing. And I sucked at trying to kill Valstrax, but I did that, so that's pretty fucking fulfilling.
I love Monster Hunter for one of the big reasons of it being you see how you progress and how your skill evolves. Because you'll start your whole journey into Monster Hunter with any of the games really. And you will start out being very unknowledgeable, not knowing really what to do. If I can give an example with like World, that was my first Monster Hunter game. I started with World. I had no idea what I was doing. I picked up Longsword because I liked the idea of being able to counter attacks and not really having to guard and be on timing with that. But you really like, for example, with the Ancient Forest, you'll get lost in there super easily. And as you tend to remember things, you remember counter times, you remember monster attacks, you remember animations. So you can really see your skills growing for like the entirety of your journey through the game. And especially like with another thing is when there's a monster you've been struggling with for a really long time and you don't have the right stuff to beat it, you can go and you can hunt another monster, get its armor, and make a whole set around fighting that specific monster, and it feels so good when you finally take it down.
Question 3. What makes Monster Hunter disappointing for you? There's this one thing you just fucking despise with all your heart. It could just be the small, grittiest thing. It could be a lot of issues. It could be whatever. Just be honest.
As much as the grind can be fun, I hate it sometimes when you're just wanting to get that one item for your piece of armor or weapon, and then the monster just doesn't drop it.
Please see off. It's hip checks. It's random hip checks in its hitboxes. So, like, you can literally walk under the monster. How does it hit you with a hip check when you're under it? Well, there's one monster. Can I bring up one monster?
Go ahead. The table's yours. You have the fucking talking stick, dude. Back in grade school.
There is something called Thunderlord Zinogre. With that Zinogre, you will immediately recognize the moveset between Rise and Thunderlord Zinogre, in Zinogres in general, because they copied that moveset. They just transferred it.
Yeah, they also did
no difference.
Bloodbath, Dread King. Yeah, Dread King Rathalos now is just a mix between bits of Silver and Rise, Sunbreak, and Apex.
Like, I feel like Capcom's just getting lazy now because they're not differentiating anything. I mean, they're differentiating some stuff, don't get me wrong. It's just the individuality, that was what was special back then. Everything had its own moveset, everything was special, even the Deviants had their own moveset. Hellblade Glavenus, regular Glavenus, Astalos, other Astalos, I can't remember what it's called.
Bolt Reaver.
Bolt Reaver Astalos, thank you. Gammoth, Elderfrost Gammoth, they each had their own moves. It's just kind of differentiating and pretty much becoming non-existent.
Probably I'd have to say a little bit of the story, sort of. Like, sometimes it feels rushed. Some of the animals they're a bit tedious to kill and whatnot and hunt. Some parts can just get annoying, and even if, like, this is in the game's fault, but when you have the wrong team with you, it can get even annoying as which. But I don't have any really major complaints. The one major complaint that I do have was probably it gets a little buggy here and there, but that's about it. But
It will get boring at some point.
Like?
At a point, it's just waiting until waiting. Whenever you're going to an expedition, you're waiting until that correct monster appears over there. So keep it. And another thing about it is repetition. Sometimes it gets repetitive. And there's also the grind, but I don't mind the grinding.
Question 4. Significance, purpose, and coherence of Monster Hunter. What is it? Define it.
Well, I haven't seen much of the plot of Monster Hunter. The lore and monsters are very much its forte. It is consistent. Just like how Cuphead is, it's all about the monsters, the boss fights. It is about those fights. Not so much about character development. It is simply just about defeating something that's larger than life. And unlike Shadow of the Colossus, where it can have an underlying message of like poaching or something like that, Monster Hunter is about the thrill of the hunt, the thrill of the kill.
One thing I find very consistent with Monster Hunter is their act of hating on a specific weapon, which is the gun lance, and lance kinda, because I'd like to say they have made the charge blade has been OP a lot. The longsword has been really good a lot. Great sword has all been. So they don't really. There's no weapon balance really, but I guess play what you find fun. A great purpose to play Monster Hunter is just if you want a game like to play with friends. It is so much more fun playing Monster Hunter with a full set, like a full hunting party of 4 people. Because it's so much more. If you have like a full coordinated team, you just start tearing through a monster. You can tear through multiple hunts incredibly quickly.
I definitely feel it is consistent in its appeal. It always pretty much has the same game, but a little bit different, more monsters, a little different characteristics, a little bit different aspects about other games, I'm sure. Like slight tweaks and such. The significance being it's kind of a game in the platform where it's actually quite different from other ones. Like if you were to take a game such as DDO. This is what I'm thinking about right now, but DDO, in that you have many different monsters and such, and creatures and things and such, but it's more like enemies and not bosses. So I don't know. I guess you're always facing a boss, which is interesting.
I feel like it wasn't really ahead of its time like most other games were, you know? So what I mean by that is you have, like when Monster Hunter released, it sort of died off in the media very quickly and efficiently, you know? But on the community side, it was thriving.
I think the purpose of Monster Hunter is to get your glands spread, you know?
Okay.
I think before you play Monster Hunter for the first time, you're like a little virgin boy. But after you finish, you're ran through slut. Like, you're getting passed around by these fucking Defaljos and shit by like a fucking baseball. That's how much you're getting passed around by these fucking monsters. I think it's consistent about like every day you get on, you're gonna get your fucking ass ate if you don't do this and this and this. I love that. I love getting on. I love having to grind for armor, kill a monster, and then having to do that shit all over again.
I feel like on Tournament for Beginners, as much as like Rise and World can be a little bit difficult to start out, once you start getting the control schemes and weapon abilities down, it can be so satisfying to just do it, to do things.
Question 5. Would you recommend this series to anyone for any reason? It could be one game, it could be multiple games. What is it? Why would you recommend it?
I'd recommend this game if you wanted to, like I've mentioned multiple times, if you wanted to find good people, good friends that are long-lasting. Like me and Pat right here is a good example. If you wanted to find good friends, if you wanted to really work on your patience and your team building skills as well, it's a great game. It's a great way to find, like, everybody has the role in gaming, like they play the role of the assault, of the heavy, of like a leader,
healer,
of the
support.
recon. Yeah, exactly. It's a great way to sort of find what your sort of role is, you know? So like when you pick weapons, you pick abilities, you pick this, and you're like, oh, you know, damn, I'm pretty good as a tank, or I'm pretty good as a support. It's really good as that.
Oh, of course. I've recommended this game to I've recommended Monster Hunter to so many people. So much to the point where people got annoyed of hearing it out of my mouth. I'm not even gonna lie.
I have the same problem. I had that same problem. I bought, like, World for people, like, 6 times. Iceborne's like 5.
Did they like it, though?
Some of them completed it, some of them haven't completed it yet, or they just got stuck, or just like, well, I haven't played this game in a while, I'm just gonna uninstall it, and then that kind of... But, yeah, everyone had a pretty much good time because of it, so...
When I first picked up 4 Ultimate, I already told you I was like, this is the best game ever. I said, like, every Monster Hunter, I was like, oh, I beat it, I beat Tetsukabra. She got so annoyed. I said Tetsukabra one time. I walk out, like, the next day, I'm like, I just heard of a Chupacabra. I don't care about no Cabra. Nobody cares about Monster Hunter. And I'm like, damn. There was at one point where I talked about it when my father got with this girl over to their house and talked about it with their cousins, got annoyed, and pretty much everybody got annoyed to the point where I couldn't say it at their house. It was banned. Those words were banned.
Really? Really?
Monster Hunter, and yes, I'm being serious. Dude, I wrote about it in my own notebook, and they said, no, you can't. She literally ripped it up and burned it, and I'm like, dude. She took me out into the yard and she's like, that's it. Rip it up. And I'm like, okay. Put it on the ground. She lights it on fire. I'm like, wow. I just drew it in my notebook. I wasn't even talking about it.
So the term monster was banned at your house because how much you talked about it and how much you loved it.
Uh-huh.
If that's not a recommendation, I don't know what is.
I would recommend World. It is quite fun. The story, characters, and the battles are also quite fun. I really have no complaints, and it's quite a fun story, or a fun game.
Yes, because every time I've played it, I've had a great time. It's just the fact of me actually getting around to playing it that's the issue for me.
If somebody likes the idea of collecting monsters and using their parts and swords, giant maces, and all sorts of randomness, well, not maces, but you get the idea. Truly just all randomness that makes no sense but is very lovely.
So yes, I would recommend it. It's just you learn from your own experiences. There's no real hand-holding.
I don't really know. It may be interesting, as other people would hear it, but as trying to convince them to play the game, I don't know. But recommending them is alright by itself. Just saying, to make it easier for me, I would just say it's a game that you beat the ever crap of ginormous lizards and dragons.
You should do your research though, and pick the right one to start with if it's your first time ever playing Monster Hunter.
If you're looking for a story-driven game, you might have to dig a bit deep. Yeah, if you're just looking for a good amount of combat, this game can be right up your alley.
I recommend this game for one reason only. You'll probably be better at games. Like, honestly, I think Monster Hunter was a turning point for me. Like when I downloaded Monster Hunter, I was a sweet virgin boy, but now I'm a big buff black guy. I think this game was, in all honesty, I know it sounds like fucking lame and shit, but this game was a turning point for me as a person, as a gamer, as a person who like plays the shit out of video games. This game was a turning point because this game was the reason why I do shit. Maybe in real life too, because like I used to not go outside after I finished playing Monster Hunter. I was like, damn, that shit is bummy. Let me go hunt in real life. Let me go hunt some bitches. Let me go scope some hoes out.
Notice how all of them didn't bring up the handler once. Capcom, why did you put her in the game? If it weren't for Monster Hunter World Iceborne, I would still be a crying little bitch boy that plays Minecraft, and probably would have been a dream stand. So thanks to this game for not making me cringe. Anyways, that's it. Bye.